So a lot of people like don't believe in marriage anymore. What do you have to say to that?
Marriage is, we didn't have sex for the first 6 months. I mean, do what you say you was gonna do. I was loaded. I would not have greeted you with a hug and a kiss if I. So there were 30 girls in lingerie when he walked in. I'd be lying to you if I told you that you could be with someone for a long time and not understand. Yeah. It's that language that is not spoken. You just have to kind of like, and they're like, oh, the first time that shit hits the fan, they're like, I'm out. And she put me on the spot and she brought me on stage. And I had no idea that moment was gonna happen. And
tonight we are with Chachi and we're back with a late night studio sesh.
Por eso te pido una noche para acostarme a tu lado.
All right, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. So I heard you have a new single coming out called Love Language.
Love Language comes out on February 16th, Friday, February 16th.
Okay.
And it's one of those kind of records that, you know, you're kind of going through a little breakup, situationship, you know.
So how did you get love language? Like, what are your love languages?
My love language is definitely food, because I'm a foodie.
Oh my God, me too.
I'm a foodie. And I think acts of service, like if you say you're going to do something, do it. Like actions speak so much louder than words. And that, like if you say you about it, then be about it. That is my best, like my favorite love language.
Yeah. So you're like a man of his word. Yeah. I feel like a man is not a man unless he's a man of his word.
I mean, do what you say you was gonna do, right? Say less.
So what got you into love languages? Like, where did you learn that?
The song was derived through a conversation that I was having with one of my very best friends. We were both going through a breakup at the same time. And she was going through a breakup of like 7-8 years. And I was going through like just a break with the person I was dating at the time. And she's like, it's crazy because this guy is he's so smart. He reads all these books, but it's like, you know, he just doesn't read my love language. And I was like, that is such a good line. And I told her, I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna use it, but I'm gonna use it. And like 2 weeks later, I was out here in the studio actually, and we started vibing and writing. And I remember I had that note and I used it and it worked and wound up being the title of the song. So go figure.
I love that. I think it's really important to know people's love languages. I think a lot of people don't these days.
You could be with someone for a long time and not understand. You might know your love language, but you might not understand your partner's love language. And I think that's very important.
Yes. So I heard you're married.
I am.
Oh my God.
Wow. Wow. That was loaded. I'm a married woman. Yes, I am.
A married woman.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So a lot of people like don't believe in marriage anymore. What do you have to say to that?
I feel like marriage is the type of commitment that you have to show up for each other each and every single day, and you have to choose each other each and every single day.
Yeah.
I'd be lying to you if I told you that there is a perfectly or happily ever after. That shit does not exist. You know, I think marriage is like knowing that you have a bond with this person and you've created this union, and no matter what you go through, you're gonna work it out.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of people in this day and age forget that, and they're like, oh, the first time that shit hits the fan, they're like, I'm out. And no, it's about compromising, listening when your partner is not saying anything. It's that language that is not spoken. You just have to kind of like be in tune with your partner. Marriage is loaded. It's very loaded, but it's also very beautiful to know that to know I found my life partner, to know I have somebody that I'm building my foundation with, that I'm raising my son, because I'm also a mother.
Oh, okay.
The fact that I'm raising my son in a happy, healthy, beautiful environment, that speaks volumes for me, because I didn't have that.
You're also out here doing
working,
music, working, and
grinding.
He fully supports you. How's that?
My husband fully supports me. He never rushed me once after having the baby. I told him I wanted to take my little maternity leave and that I wanted to experience my child's firsts.
Yes.
Because they're going to be grown-ups and adults and have attitudes for the rest of their lives, but not always are you going to be there for the first word, the first walk, the first giggle.
Yeah.
So I'm very blessed. He never rushed me.
Okay.
He's a head honcho. He held it down.
Wow.
And when I told him that I was ready and I was feeling like myself again, he was like, you're a star and, you know, this is your world. We just live in it. Let's go.
Where do you find a man like this?
I prayed a lot, and I was alone for a while before him. Ironically, there were many Valentines that I didn't have a love interest, and many holidays that I was just so depressed and kind of like low key, you know, a little jealous of all the beautiful relationships around me.
So there was a time when you were single for a long time?
No, a time, girl. Before my husband, I was actually single and celibate for 2 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
And that was something that I did for me because, you know, at the end of the day, my self-love and my love language towards myself is respect. Wow. And so I had to find myself and figure things out and know that, you know, I had to heal some things before I was going to commit to just anyone, you know? And I was good for 2 years. And that's how I started working on my project. I was touring, going all over the place. And then when I met my husband, I knew that there was something different, but I couldn't decipher it. I'm still trying to decipher it.
So how did you meet?
We met at a friend's party. She's actually an influencer. Her name is Norris Marcel. And she hired him to cook because my husband is an award-winning chef. And she invited me because it was like an influencer thing. Okay. So there were 30 girls in lingerie when he walked in.
Wow.
And him and I had followed each other for like 5 years on the gram.
Oh, really?
But we had never met in person. And then that day we met in person and energetically I was like, I was like, maybe it's the wine. Let me stop drinking some wine. But then we started dating and here we are. We just made 5 years.
5 years.
This month.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Girl.
This month we make 2 years married.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I guess I'm here to tell everyone, please don't settle. Know your worth, because that's very important to know your worth. But when you know it's right, don't let nobody tell you anything. Just you really have to listen to, and that's something that I say in love language. I feel like there are relationships where you go through the red flags and you go through the hardships and you're still there and you stay there. And people from the outside looking in are like, but that's so toxic. Yeah. Why are you doing this to yourself? Why? But they don't understand what's happening inside that relationship. Yeah. And only we know when it's time to cut it and keep it moving. So it's like everybody could advise you as much as they want, but only you and your heart, you're going to know when it's time to go.
Before your celibacy healing journey, what led you to that? Was there any experience that led you to that?
It was actually one of the most healthiest relationships that I had ever had.
Really? What?
How ironic, right?
That's ironic.
I dated this guy for about 9 months. We didn't have sex for the first 6 months. We dated, we went out, we drank, we ate. What didn't we do? Right. Okay. But we dated. He courted me, you know? Okay. And he actually met me at a burlesque show that I produced. And he flirted through the gram and he said, can a single person go to this? And I was like, absolutely. You won't be alone. I'll be there. Ironically, when I saw him, I was like, oh, he's cute. Okay, whatever. And we dated for about 9 months. Like I said, we didn't do anything for the first 6 months. And then it finally happened. It was great, whatever. But I was starting an off-Broadway musical. And I knew that we had a great friendship and we had a great vibe. But I knew that what he was looking for at the moment, I was not going to be able to provide for him. And I'm the kind of person that I don't want to be in the way of what the universe has for you. So I opted to step out.
You seem very spiritual. Are you religious? You seem very spiritual. I mean, you said universe a few times, you know.
I am. I don't think I'm religious. I think I am way more spiritual than religious.
What got you into spirituality?
When I actually left Catholic, left the Catholic Church type vibe.
Wow, so you were religious at the time.
Growing up, I did everything from my baptism, communion, confirmation, and then, you know, I started reading and just learning and kind of like looking under the rug. And I was just like so aware of things. And I was just like, yeah, this doesn't relate and it doesn't align with my beliefs and with what, you know, I know the higher power and universe. And I was just like, yeah, no. So I stepped away from being Catholic. To be honest, I want to say like in my early 20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you were Catholic before that for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So how does your family feel about spirituality?
They're very spiritual and they're very open-minded. And when they heard my point of view and where I was coming from, and I was bringing things to light that were being, you know, swiped under the rug, in educating them, I feel like they were like, you know what? You're absolutely right. Yeah. So it was like an epiphany moment for the family. Okay. But we still believe in God very much. We pray, we thank the universe, and we know that only love is real. So.
I love that. I'm very spiritual too. So I was like, okay. I feel like you could sense another spiritual
The energy.
person.
I would not have greeted you with a hug and a kiss if energetically it would have been like, no, I would have been like, hi.
So do you believe in manifestation? Do you believe you've manifested to get where you are?
I manifest so much. I manifest with my manager all the time. I manifest with my husband. And it is very real, and I've lived it firsthand. A perfect example, just little situation. I've sang background vocals for two of the very biggest Latin artists in the world, Romeo Santos and Don Omar. And I remember being in the audience and a young girl, and saying, I could do that. Like the background vocal. I was like, I could do that. I could do what she's doing. I could do it. I could do what he's doing too. And years later, 10, 15 years later, I was on stage singing background vocals for both of them. And I know the moments that created the ripple so that could happen. And now I know that you have to be very specific with the universe, because the universe doesn't understand when you speak to it generally. So you have to be specific on what you want. I wish I would have said back then, I want his job. I want to be where he is. And that's what I've been saying now. So when I go to Drake concerts or I go to any concert, I'm like, I am Beyonce. I am Jennifer Lopez. I am she. And that's with everything. But I think when you manifest, you have to do it from a place of gratitude, because you have to already feel like you have it. It's yours. And if you try to manifest from fear or doubt, it's not going to happen.
Have you read the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success?
Yes.
I just can tell you read that.
Yes. I love me some Deepak Chopra.
Me too.
I had the honor of meeting him once.
Really?
Him and his wife. I do a lot of humanitarian work. And so I worked with Mark Anthony in one of his nonprofit organization, Maestro Cares. And that year they were honoring Deepak Chopra. And so I had the pleasure of meeting him. And his wife thought I was cool.
Okay.
So I probably am.
So tell me about your childhood. What was your childhood like?
I was a big dreamer. My family used to do little talent shows between me and my cousins to see who danced the best, to see who had the best costume during Halloween, or a variety talent show. And they say that I was always the winner because I was the biggest baby cry. But to justify, I'm the only entertainer in the family. So I don't know if it's because they're jelly and they were like, yeah, you were winning because you were a crybaby, or they weren't acknowledging that this talent came from when I was a little girl.
Okay.
So
you've always been into singing?
Always. To the point where one of my idols, Olga Tañón, manifestation again, when I was little, instead of saying I wanted to be a singer when I grew up, I would say, I'm going to be Olga Tañón. When I turned 17, I sang with her Happy Birthday at the Apollo Theater in New York.
Oh, wow.
And then 10, 15 years later, I go to see her at a concert in Connecticut, and she put me on the spot and she brought me on stage. And I had no idea that moment was going to happen. And she left me on stage and left me her audience. And that's another way to show you that when the power of the mind, it's how you focus.
Yes.
It works.
It does. You can get anything you want.
But with good intentions.
With good intentions only.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you originally from?
I'm from Newark, New Jersey, Brick City 973. I rep the 973.
Okay. And how did you get to Florida?
Well, Florida is a vibe. Puerto Rican though. So I am a Jersey girl, right? But I have to say that much. Puerto Rican. So 7872. But Miami has been like my hub of creativity for this album, La Chachi. Okay. So La Chachi, we started working on it in 2018. And it's been a long time coming because we went through the pandemic. Yeah. And then I went through my maternity leave. So here we are finalizing absolutely everything. And Love Language is the second song on the album that comes out. And there's going to be new music coming out literally all year. And God willing, the album will be out in September.
So how do you balance being a mom and an artist?
It's loaded. It's sometimes I feel like the mom brain, because there's this thing called mom brain that kind of blurs your thoughts a little bit, and kind of if you're unorganized or if you didn't memorize things before, good luck after being a mom.
Really?
So it made me I have these moments where I'm like, what was I saying? Like Dory from Nemo. Yeah. Wait. And luckily the people that I talk to listen, so they're able to bring me back. But it's beautiful. It's just layers, different layers.
Okay, so it's not that hard to balance sometimes, or is it?
I feel like when you love what you do, it's not work. And when you love your family and your baby and your husband so much, it's not work. So even though sometimes I feel like Cinderella, it's not work because I love them and I want them to have a clean, happy, healthy home, So I love making the mess because that means that we're living and creating memories. But at the same time, it's I need a housemaid. I just need one.
So what is the hardest part of being a female in the industry?
That some men don't respect you and or don't feel that you can be their equal and or that you're intimidating because you are passionate like them. I feel like it's such a double standard for women in the industry. We have to work a lot harder.
Yeah.
A lot of us lose integrity in the process and self-respect. So keeping your self-respect in this industry is a mission in itself.
For sure.
But it's a little harder for us. We have to knock on the doors a little louder. But where there's a will, there's a way. And when you have the right team and the right synergy, anything is possible.
So you feel like you've dealt with like men in the industry like being weird? Because a lot of artists we've interviewed have said that for sure.
Absolutely. I feel like I'll be honest, I think I would have been signed a long time ago if I would have done things a long time ago. But I didn't want to. And so I said, I'm gonna take the long road.
Okay.
But I know that when I receive my awards and when I receive my Grammy and when I receive, my Latin billboards and all that #1 top charting, I know that the respect and the integrity that I carry, that's the more valuable prize than the actual award,
So who's your dream collab?
Oof, it depends because I've always said Mark Anthony, but I always say Bruno Mars as well.
Bruno Mars?
Yes. His energy, he's an entertainer. Like he dances, he acts, he sings, on stage, he is the real deal. And what I love about him is that he makes everyone, he takes everyone's phones away for his concerts.
Really?
So everyone has to like check their phone and they put him in a bag. And so you can't film the concert. But how beautiful is it to actually be present and live the moment and take it all in? We're consumed with these social platforms. So we're like, we go to a concert and we don't even see the concert because we're really with the phone out.
Yep.
So I feel like he understands what it is to be present. So Mark Anthony, Bruno Mars, I mean, there's just so many because I would say Adele, but I know Adele doesn't do it with anyone, Like I know
why
Adele.
Doesn't she do it with anyone?
I love it. I love that about her though, because she's like, if everybody's on TikTok, I don't want to be on TikTok. If everybody's doing to the left, I'm gonna go to the right. And I'm like, sometimes that's the attitude that makes the difference because you're not going with the crowd or you're not going with the what everybody's doing wave. So I saw an interview where she was like, maybe I don't do music for TikTok. Maybe I do music for the people that aren't on it. And I was like, but you're Adele. Only you can say that. Everybody else needs TikTok.
Exactly. So you're married to a celebrity chef.
I sure enough am.
And how's that? How's the food?
The food is incredible. My husband, like I said, he's Chef Kelvin. He's classically trained in American cuisine, but he's Dominican and he also trained in France. So he's just a fusion of eclectic flavor.
Wow.
And he's also beat Bobby Flay a couple times. He's doing a couple of new shows on the Food Network. Okay. And he cooks for J-Lo and all these famous people.
That's amazing. Wow.
But I got to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, every morning, 5 days out of the week. Because if not, all those calories, girl. I have to be on a calorie deficit. So I'm like,
So he cooks every day for you?
If I asked him to, yes.
Really?
Yes,
What is your favorite dish he cooks?
Oh my God. So his award-winning arepas are like, that's what he beat Bobby Flay with. But he's done a fusion for me that he hasn't done with anybody else. And it's with chorizo. And then the hollandaise sauce, he puts like a truffle hot sauce in it.
Oh my.
Girl, with the chorizo and the egg and the arepa. Girl.
Wow.
So that I'm sure that dish in itself has many calories, and that's why I'm always in the gym. So it's like the double-sided sword. Because
you get
the blessing.
You gotta work out more.
You get the blessing of the incredible cuisine, but then you also get the karma of the calories. That's not so cute.
So as a foodie, what's your favorite food?
Peruvian food and pizza.
Pizza?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Best pizza in New York?
No.
New Jersey?
Chicago.
Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. I went to Chicago and I had the deep dish, but it was at a bad place.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I if it's a bad place, then you have to go back and you have to try.
I was sad. I was like,
what was bad about it? Was like very doughy because it's supposed to be airy.
It was doughy.
No, cute. No.
It was a franchise though, so.
Though, I mean, that's like fast food. Think about it. You got to go to the mom and pop little hole in the walls. That's where the magic is.
What do you think is the biggest stigma of being an artist? Like, what do you think people think of you that you wish they didn't or perceive you as?
I mean, the the social platforms, we want to be perceived in a certain light. So we don't show the real. Most of the times we don't show the real. We'll show the beautiful sunset. We'll show the good times. We'll show when we're, you know, receiving awards or, you know, when the good stuff is happening. But it's very random and seldom that we show the sad, real moments, like when shit hits the fan, like when you need prayer warriors, when you need people to, like, you know, kind of like remind you who you are or bring you back to the light. So it's just the misconception that, you know, the fairy tale, that the way they look at us or the way they look at people, and they want what we have, but they don't know that sometimes this crown is heavy.
Yeah.
And only the one carrying knows what, you know, like, you know, when they say, like, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen, or only the people in the kitchen know what time it is.
Yes.
Well, you know, you don't know. Like, it's when we say, oh, I wish I had her life. Well, you don't know what she's going through or he's going through. They're only showing you the good, you know?
I feel like a lot of people, like, especially like new generation, they all want fame and, you know, quick fame and all that, but they don't realize what it comes with, like the haters, and then they might get one hate comment and they're sad and depressed the next day.
You have to have like your self-esteem and your skin. You have to have a thick layer of skin, because this industry can definitely get to you. I mean, social platforms and teenagers alone scares me, because I'm like, hormonally they're going through so much, and then they're looking. I bet they feel so much pressure.
So as a mom, how do you navigate being a mom with social media? Like, do you not allow your kids to have social media?
No, he doesn't have. I have a little page for him, but obviously he's 2 years old. We don't do tablets. We give him a little bit of TV time, like Miss Rachel and stuff like that. But we try not to give him any tablets or phones.
Are you gonna like not allow him to have social media like until a certain age?
I feel like I have to wait to see his personality and his character and see what type of little human being he is. Because if I know that he doesn't deal well with, like, you know, being corrected or criticism or this, then there's conversations that need to be had before this, because mentally you have to be prepared. There's a lot of mean people and trigger fingers out there. And so you have to do the Beyonce method, ignore everyone and never reply. Never reply. You never acknowledge.
Not even read.
If you don't acknowledge, it never happened.
What is something you wish you knew before starting your career?
How difficult it would be.
Yeah.
And that I would fail many times. And that I guess my resilience would determine my success, to me. Because success is, you know, your definition, my definition. Everybody has a different definition, but I would say that. Okay.
And what is an experience that has changed your life for the better?
I didn't know I needed my son as much as I needed him.
Really?
Because I started like late, you know, all my family, friends, they had their babies in their 20s. I toured, I did everything I wanted to do. I did theater in London, theater in New York, and I danced all over the world. I don't know, I just...
Kid changed you.
A kid changes you. And it's like, it's weird because it's so, it's loaded. I think the day you become a mom, you'll understand.
I know. I'm like, I want to be a mom, but I'm also scared.
No, you shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't be scared, and don't vibrate.
The actual birth process.
Don't vibrate in that frequency, sis.
You're right.
Don't vibrate there. You gotta, you know, because if that's what you're vibrating, then that's what you're gonna attract. Right. So you gotta kind of like change it up, and you know, if God made you a woman, it's because you are capable of bringing another human into this world. So
yeah, I heard that having a kid, you experience true unconditional love, like towards your child.
Yeah. And in the beginning, I was like, because I loved him. I mean, I knew I loved him, but I feel like as I spent time with him, it's like every day I love him more and more and more. And so now I'm like, I'm not obsessed with him, but I'm low-key obsessed with my son. Yeah. Like I brought a little toy with a
pet, though.
Absolutely, because this one talks back.
It's like a pet that talks back.
This one talks back, and this one, you know, it's gonna have, you know, God willing, a longer lifespan than a pet.
Yeah,
you know, and this one is a human that is gonna represent you in this world when you're no longer here. So he's also, or she's also, gonna be a reflection or a representation of who you were as a parent and what you instilled in them. So I'm just trying to leave my son to be a good human being, you know, a selfless human being. Who believes in empathy and compassion and love. And I mean, I know he's going to see that with how I am. Yeah. My humanitarian acts, the things that I'm involved in, the things that his father's involved in. So it's very important that we, you know, that we're careful who we pick to be partners for our children.
100%. Yeah. I feel like Got to be very careful with that one. I feel like that's also why
Disney did a number on us.
Yeah, it did for sure. I feel like a lot of the reason like society is regressing is because of the way people are raised, for sure, because it all starts from there.
Entitlement and stuff. It's like, bro, it's not just about you. We're all here together.
Exactly. So what has been the highlight of your career? Your favorite part, favorite moment? Is there
I think my favorite moment was when Olga Tañón brought me back on stage 15 years later. And it was like, I was able to capture it because there weren't cell phones that had cameras back then when it initially happened. Yeah. So I didn't have footage. I knew it happened at Apollo Theater, but it was my word and everybody who was there, but I couldn't prove it. And when it happened again, and now social platforms and everybody has a phone with a camera and everybody's tagging and everybody, you know, that moment, being able to relive it and having her acknowledge, you know, publicly, and she didn't have to do none of that. Yeah. And it's your idol doing that, you know, like it's not just a regular artist, it's your idol. It's the reason as to why you aspire to be who you are. So that full circle moment just showed me that, you know, I was doing the right thing and that I chose the right career and the right path, and it kind of reassured me to keep doing what I was doing.
I love that. And what is something people don't know about you? Is there anything?
That people don't know about me? I don't know. Maybe that I get a lot of anxiety and I don't always talk about it.
Okay.
You know, like, and that's a real moment. I don't want to say the superficial or the, you know, the pretty. I would say, that sometimes I'm a little hard on myself and I'm my worst critic.
Okay. And you hide it?
I think I do. I'm an actress, so I think I hide it very well. Yeah. I mean, I know my manager's in the room and I know she sometimes, she hears the unspoken words. And so I think it's important to have people like that too, that in your silence, they hear you screaming.
Yes, for sure. I think all artists, creators, we all have the most anxiety, you know, compared to normal people, because we're always in the camera. People are always watching.
We're sensitive about our art, you know, we're, you know, touchy and, but yeah.
So how do you feel people perceive you?
As this strong diva bitch. No.
A
baddie, but I think I would say I'm a humble diva.
Okay.
I've worked very hard in this industry for the past 20 years. I've paid my dues. I started from the floor up. I was the dancer dancing for the band. I was the background vocalist. Then I was the person getting costumes ready for these people. So I've done a little bit of everything. I mean, I respect every single person that works with us, from the sound tech to the engineer to the person that's putting lights to the person that's, you know, putting the floors on the stage. It's a lot. It's a lot of good stuff.
I love that. Are your mom and dad like very like nice people to everyone? Did you get it from them?
So I was raised with my mother, my grandmother, and my godmother.
Okay.
So in like super strong women. My father wasn't really in the picture.
Okay.
And I'm not even mad about that, because I'm happy that caused the outcome.
Yes.
You know? My mother she's always very giving. My mother's a crossing guard in Newark, New Jersey. And a lot of times she's like, Cha, if you're going to give something or throw something away and it's in good conditions, you know, let me have it. I have a family that I think needs it, or somebody just went through a fire. So my mom is that heart. And I know I get from my grandmother and her, I get that compassion stuff from them.
So you feel you're an empath?
I am. I feel very hard.
Really?
I'm even when I don't want to, but I think that's something that I want to work on, and that, you know, maybe not a lot of people know, because those are the moments that I go introverted. Because there's so much I want to say, but then I know that, you know, social platforms are the way they are, and it's like you just get beat up for having any kind of opinion nowadays. They want to cancel you because you chose that color lipstick. So it's like, you know what, let me just mind my business and keep it moving.
Yeah, I feel like people say, oh, be yourself, but not like that.
Yeah, so how can I be myself? Yeah, right.
Like, what do you mean?
Right. You're incredible, but I want you to sound like this person. No.
Like what?
Like,
no.
Can you do it like Shakira? Well,
I can try.
You wouldn't want to hire Shakira?
Yeah.
She could do it for you like Shakira, because that's Shakira, you know? But
what is the craziest experience you've had in the industry?
I was on stage with Don Omar in Mexico City, and I don't know if it was my blood pressure or the altitude, because I guess it's the altitude, the air is a lot thinner. And I didn't like overexert myself during sound check. So I didn't know that when I performed how I would feel. And I honestly felt like I was going to fall off of the block that I was on. And when I tell you there was like nothing to grab onto, that was the scariest moment because I thought if I faint up here, I'm going to draw attention that I do not want. I wasn't even thinking of falling off the cube. Go figure.
So what happened?
No, I was okay. When I came back down, they put an oxygen tank on me. They took my blood pressure. Everything was fine. And maybe I guess it was just I needed oxygen. So,
okay.
I mean, the music is pumping you up there, giving it all you got. And then all of a sudden you're like,
I can't even imagine. I can't imagine like being on stage in front of a lot of people.
Scary.
I don't know how you do it.
Oh, I love it. I feel more comfortable being in front of 85,000 people than I do in this room right now.
Really?
Absolutely.
What?
Because this is very intimate and personal, and I could look at everybody's eyes.
Okay.
And I could feel everybody's energy. On stage,
You don't feel anything.
I can't feel nothing. It's like, it's crazy big, but
So when you're writing, you write your own music?
I write my own music. I collab.
Okay.
But yeah, I do write my own music too.
So what do you do before? What's your routine before you write a song, before you record a song?
I have moments and I take my notes throughout life. And then when I come into the studio, I never know what I'm going to record or what I want to work on. And I always say that I want to let the muse take over the room. Because sometimes we've come into the studio and we're like, okay, we're going to get a dance track up tempo and then we'll get a ballad. So I'm like, I got to feel the energy and feel the vibe. And I guess that's what takes us into this is what's going to happen.
All right. So is there anything you want to promote? Last minute?
Well, Love Language that comes out on Friday, February 16th. If you are in the town or in the state of New Jersey, on Valentine's Day, my husband and I have a burlesque dinner show that I produced.
Ooh, okay.
And he's going to be doing the dinner, and it's going to be delicious and just wow.
Goodness, I want to go to that.
You're going to see the
food.
the food. Yeah, that and that, just to stay posted, follow me on Instagram at Chachi Nation. Grizel Del Valle. Music is on all the platforms, YouTube. We'll leave all the links down here.
All the links down here.
Right
Thank
here.
you so much for coming
Tap.
on.
Thank you so much for having me, baby.
Thank you.